Well, we got up bright and early to get the first bus to Trackwork at Sha Tin to try and capture some of the biggest names in global racing. Kaying Rising, Romantic Warrior, My Wish, Massive Sovereign, the list goes on. The locals work first, and then later on, after the sun rises up over the hill behind me, some of the internationals will come out. We'll try and get a glimpse of who might cause an upset on Sunday. David, it's an absolute pleasure to be chatting with you again. Kaying Rising, he's the horse on everyone's lips. He has been for a while. He looked enormous returning to Hong Kong. How is he?
Yeah, look, we thought leading into the lead-up race that he'd improved after the trip to Australia. And I think his form proved that. I thought visually it was his best win. And his work since has been very good. So he's in great shape.
Zach mentioned earlier on that in a gallop he felt like he was a bit keen, he just wanted the blowout, so fitness is definitely not going to be an issue this weekend.
No, he's certainly on top of his game. His gallop on the course proper was the best one I've seen him do. He was on his own, not breaking records, but just did it so well, and he's thrived since. So yeah, he's had a great prep, and the trip to Sydney I think has really brought him on, improved him. He's probably 25 pounds heavier this year than he was last year. So I really do feel he's going into the race in better shape than last year.
Mentally, there was so much pressure for an athlete in Sydney. I'm sure you felt it. I'm sure the horse definitely felt it. Has that had an effect on him?
Look, the horse was so calm down in Sydney. He got upset at the trial because it was a new environment, but with that dress rehearsal under his belt, race day, he was wonderful. He was in great shape. So when I was saddling him up before the race, it gave me a lot of confidence, because my one worry was that he was going to melt before the race in a different environment, and he handled the occasion very well.
He just seems so adaptable with the way that he jumps. Is there an ideal barrier that you would like?
Look, probably anywhere really. He makes his own luck. It's what he's won from 16 in a row, and I think 10 of them have been from wide gates, and 6 have been from inside gates. So obviously we'd like to get an inside gate. It makes the job a bit easier for Zach.
The nerves on Tab Everest Day versus the nerves that you'll feel on Sunday, where do they compare?
I think Everest would definitely be ahead, because there were a lot of people doubting him down there and thinking that the Hong Kong form wouldn't stack up. So I really wanted him to perform well. It would be a shame to take him down there and get beaten and get the told you so's from everyone. It's an unusual feeling. He'll probably start $1.00 on the weekend, and the second favourite will be probably 25 to 1. So in a international group 1, I think the market tells you that he's something very special.
You mentioned in the press that you were really quietly confident going into that Group 2 first up here back home. Are you really confident again this weekend? I know you just mentioned the market, which must also give you confidence.
Yeah, the market's a pretty good guide when it's that extreme. So yeah, we're very confident.
Tomodachi Cocko, how's he going?
Look, he's had a great season. The other day he got caught wide and things didn't quite work out for him. If he draws an inside gate, I could easily see him running in the first 3.
And he was strong through the line. Is this his level?
Look, he's obviously he's got to step up a little bit from where he's been winning, but he's been dominating the domestic sprints. And yeah, we're expecting a bold showing.
David, it's a pleasure to be chatting with you here in Hong Kong. How have you settled in?
Great, thanks. Yeah, it's good to be taking part in this week with some nice horses racing, and yeah, I've really enjoyed everything up until this point. I had a solid first season, and yeah, horses are really starting to hit their straps now, second season.
We mentioned this week, all eyes on it from all over the world. What does that do for you as a trainer?
Well, it gives you obviously an extra buzz. You set your horses up for this week that you think can win, and so does everyone else. So you know, they're tough races tonight and on Sunday across the board, whether it's the Group 1s or the undercard. You know, everyone wants to try and get a winner on the big day, of course. So and it's great to have everyone in town, seeing a lot of familiar faces from all over the world.
Speaking of horses that we want to win, is there anything in your stable that punters should be really keeping an eye on this week or even beyond?
Yeah, I've got a really nice chance tonight in the Class 3 1650 in the IJC race, Silvery Breeze. He's a winner in Hong Kong last season. He's been really consistent. He's been twice this season from just 2 runs, been knocking on the door and been pretty unlucky. So hope he can go one better tonight. He's got a good gait, Hugh Bowman ride, so looking forward to it.
Any imports that maybe might be heading on over that punters can keep an eye on?
Yeah, I've got a horse running on Sunday called Helen Super Feeling, who came from the UK. He was called Port Light. And I like him. James rides him. James McDonald rides him on Sunday. He's been trialling well. They generally take a run or two, but he runs over 1200, which is a bit short of his best. But I think he'll hit the line strong and hopefully show that he's a horse capable of maybe taking a hand in the 4-year-old series. But we'll see. And a nice horse called Seraph Gabriel runs on the 4th of January. He's a horse who ran second at Royal Ascot. He's trialled really nicely, and I'm looking forward to running him.
We were actually walking the track earlier on, and the coverage in the ground feels so different to Australian tracks. Do you have to adjust your training so that the horses can adapt?
Yeah, they are firmer, the tracks, and they have to be. They race pretty much every week here at Sha Tin and at Happy Valley, so if it had too much moisture in it, there'd just be too much wear and tear. So yes, it takes time for some of them to adjust, and a lot of horses might take 12 months to even win a race, but then when they do and get a bit of confidence and they adapt to conditions, they can really go on. So, it's case by case. They're not all the same, but certainly you need to, I would say as a general rule, have to do a little bit less with them in the mornings. And the other reason for that is that they are in work all year. Horses don't spell. Your good horses don't just race spring and autumn. They might race, once a month or once every 6 weeks and just tick over in between. So that's something that you have to really take into account.
So do you have to back off them during the week? Do you do more swimming, more rehab? What does it look like?
Yeah, of course you're probably doing less each morning. And when they're galloping, once they're up and going, the trials probably keep them up to the mark, and in between the trials doing slightly less. But as I say, every horse is different. But horses can do plenty of swimming if that suits them. We've got great facilities here and in Chungfa in China where we can train horses out of as well.
All right, thank you very much for your time. I know you're very busy, and best of luck this week.
No problem. Thanks.
Mark, thank you so much for your time this morning. Leading the training premiership, that must feel enormous here.
Yeah, no, it's something I'll have to sort of pinch myself a little bit and just remind myself that it's only third season. So it's a good position to be in. But as I've seen in the 2 seasons already I've done, that the trainer in front in December hasn't been the same trainer in front at the end of the season. So as much as it's a nice start, maintaining it's going to be the hard part.
Do you find yourself looking over your shoulder slightly?
Oh, look, you always like to see, always have a look to see how everyone else is doing. And probably more importantly is when you look at the imports coming in, you see what horses that other trainers are getting, and compared to the new horses we're getting, because they're the ones that are going to sustain you at the end of the season. But look, I'm happy with the group of horses we've got, and if that's good enough at the end of the season, well and good. If it's not, I think we'll have a pretty good year.
Well, speaking of those horses in your stable, you've got a really good group of them. You mentioned you've got some here at Sha Tin, you've got some over in China. Is there a horse that punters should be keeping an eye on?
Oh, look, apart from our signature horse, My Wish, I've got a promising horse called Invincible Ibis. He's won his last 2. Zach rides him on the 20th. And he'll be aimed at the 4-year-old series, the same races that My Wish ran in last year. And that leads into the Derby. So he's been pretty impressive in his 2 runs this season, and his third run back on the 20th with Zach. Hopefully he gets it done, and that'll lift his rating into those races.
Well, let's talk My Wish. You have mentioned him. He was so brave in Group 2 company last start. What needs finessing to get the job done on Sunday?
He just needs to relax in the run. Just the 5 weeks between races I thought was just a bit much for him. He raced a bit aggressively on a fast pace. He was only beaten a length, so he ran very well, but when you're $1.40 you're expected to win. So there's a level of disappointment when they don't. But it was easy to see why he didn't. 3 weeks between races now is a better setup for him, and his peak performances have come off a 3-week break.
So what does his week look like into the lead up? Do you back off him? What work are we doing?
Oh, look, he had his main gallop last Saturday morning on the course here. I put a horse up in front of him and let him run it down. It was good, strong work. He had a very easy piece yesterday. But he'll have another gallop on Friday morning, and that's been into his first 2 runs this season. That's been the formula that's worked for him, and so we'll stick with that.
And regarding barrier draws, I know that is a question on everyone's lips. What would be ideal for you?
Oh, look, I think 1 to 6 is ideal, but look, he did win a couple of races last season from 13 and 14, so he's got tactical speed, which is a big help in these type of races. But those things are out of my control, unfortunately.
Just do what you can. Best of luck.
Thank you.